Hello, guys. Hope you guys are doing safe and sound. Welcome to the second part of the episode for PhD in States. If you've missed the first part, it's being linked to the I button above, and as well as the link has been given down in the description. Please make sure to watch the first part as well so that you are well versed or on track, on train with us for the storyline of the questions and where we are going to start in the second part. So you don't miss upon any information that you might be looking for. Please make sure to watch the first part before, then you can bounce back on the second part and watch it. And before I begin this second part, please make sure to like the video, share the word, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell notification icon so that you get notified as soon as the next video is uploaded. And also, please do follow me on Instagram and Facebook. We handle the Student Insights podcast. That's why I upload additional content, and that content is mostly related to some tips that you can use as an international student or somebody. If you are thinking about traveling overseas, it could give you some additional tips about some portals, some websites, some links, which might help you in getting some discounts or some tips or tricks you can use to kind of benefit and save some money over there. So please make sure to follow Instagram and Facebook as well. So let's begin the second part. See you at the end. So once you figured out and once you landed there in States, next is the very basic thing that you were there for, that is your PhD. So what were the main differences or the similarities that you found between the Indian education system and the States? How different or similar were they or are they?
Uh, okay, so education system, I don't know, but yeah, let's talk about like two things. One is course, one is research. So in terms of courses, I found courses are more useful in US because uh, uh, because they want you to do some things every week,
Yeah.
which keeps you or not keeps you, which kind of forces you to definitely learn something and so on. And they ensure that you do your own work and things like that by various mechanism, so which is something I liked. So once you do a course, you would actually you can claim that you know something about that particular thing, like
Yeah.
which is good. In terms of research, if you talk about I think research styles are fairly similar, but what is more but one thing that kind of sometimes strikes me is that here we want to whenever we want to start new research, we try to go with the aim of setting a new direction for others to follow. So that's generally an idea, like we should do something which is substantial. But I think that is not vastly different from any other research institution or in that sense. But what I find stark difference is where I find the stark difference is basically in terms of collaboration. And I think that's mostly a byproduct of the geographical advantage that US researchers have, that you have a lot of other groups who are also working in the same
Yeah.
research area, and it's easy to collaborate maybe. Because in India, I didn't find a lot of external collaboration in my lab where I was. There were a lot of internal collaboration, but none so whatsoever from external labs, which is something clear difference that I see here.
Your collaborations to actually networking opportunities. So, what are the avenues that you have, like kind of networking online as well as offline? Because that's where the collaborations kind of are born. So, what are the opportunities you have over there which lacked in India?
Uh, I don't know whether it's lacking in India or not, but what I can say is what's here. So you have a lot of student-run uh, research talks and student-run research discussion forums and so on, where they invite researchers or professors or other senior PhD students from different universities and so on. So attending those regularly, taking part in that kind of builds your network among peers, and that helps you with not only job search and other things, but it may also help you with the research, your own research and so on. So which is good, I think. In India also, I think we used to have, but I don't know how widespread it was. I was just a master student. I was having fun. So I don't know much about that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And what are the other aspects that, like every university, like in the UK, where I was, it had societies or some groups in which you could actually do what you like. Say you can pursue a hobby or something from different from your studies that helps you again in networking with other people, and as well as kind of it gives you a free social time.
Right. So in CMU, I would say there are like not hundreds, I think thousands of such societies and clubs and groups. You name any hobby, you name any interest, and you will have a group for that. So I think there are like huge avenues for all sorts of mainstream hobbies or mainstream interests to all kind of obscure hobbies or interests that a person may have. So you will always find some like-minded people. So that's not an issue at all. Yeah, that's like
That's great.
that's the given. So which is good. I think that is something I like about that. Although I'm not that big of a participant in many of the things, but yes, I still like the idea of that. I know if I want, I can go somewhere.
Yeah, that actually gives you a break from your everyday life. If you're bored and you want to kind of go back and enjoy something you like doing, you have more like-minded people, and then you kind of gel at
Yeah, yeah.
a different level. That's nice. And with also opportunities, what is like given the current situation, all the everything got hotspots and it's all disturbed. But what is the opportunity scope for part-time jobs? Although you're a PhD student, you might be getting a stipend and even less of time. But somebody for an undergrad or a postgrad wants to work. What are the opportunities that they have?
Uh, I do not have good information on that because as a PhD student, I don't do any part-time job or anything of
Mhm.
that sort. I maybe I do TAs because that's required. So like minimum 2 or 3 TAs are required as per course,
Mhm.
or I just become an RA with my professor. So I don't know much about job opportunity as such, but I think for undergrads, uh, non-research, non-academic positions, I think those might have been affected because of the pandemic because there used to be many jobs in campus like managing offices, managing things, and holding interview hours and things like that. So for all of these kind of jobs, there were student employees. So I think now that all these facilities are closed down at this time, maybe that has affected some jobs, but I'm not sure uh, the overall thing, like what's the situation.
Okay, okay. And one question that also arises is, once you land in any country, there are some documents one needs to procure to kind of facilitate for the healthcare for once you do your job. Say in your case, it becomes a social security number. So, what are those documentation requirements and processes that one has to go once they land in states?
Okay, so for landing here, all you need is your visa related documents
Mm-hmm.
and your passport, nothing else. Uh, Once you get in the country, so those are the basically visa and passport is basically key to your room. Once you are inside the room, you can keep it away and just roam freely, right? So that's how it is. Once you are here, uh, you don't need your passport, you don't need your visa, anything. You can keep it safely logged in your house. All you need maybe once you come here, like to earn any sort of or to do any job or anything, you need something called a social security, which is equivalent of PAN card in India. So in India, you can do job without PAN card because sometimes we don't report income and so on. But here, everyone has to report even a penny if they earn.
Yeah, yeah.
So you need a social security number. And so PhD students will anyway get social security number because they will start earning from next month itself. So you go and your university will take care of it. You don't have to do much. Apart from that, if you are like for PhD is a long time, right? So minimum like 4 to 5 years. So uh, one thing you should do is maybe get a driving license or a state ID card or something like that. Because if you go to pubs and all then they require you to show proof of age. So maybe carrying passport everywhere is not a great idea. So maybe you should get a driving license. So that's all I can say about documentation. Beyond that, I don't think you need any documentation as such.
And what are the kind of facilities that the university has? Say yours is kind of mostly based on data plus a software, but kind of
Right.
workshops or practical labs. What are the uh, tools that you have at your hands if you need to do any research or try it on experiment or something of that sorts?
So I can say from my perspective, right? So for example, when I got here, they asked me what kind of machine you want. So
Mhm.
I chose a laptop. They funded me for that,
Okay.
and then we have like servers and whatnot we can connect. So although I have a very good laptop, I use it as a dumb terminal and connect to servers to do all the processing that I have. I believe even non-computer science related things are, they also have plenty of, I mean, resources are not an issue here. That's all. The bottom line is you don't have, there won't be any hindrance in your research uh, uh, if it's dependent on some resource. You will get that resource if it is available anywhere. So you will get that. So resources are not a problem here.
And given the pandemic that happened, how has that affected your personal, social, and professional life?
Right. So there's no social life anymore. so, so that's as simple as that. Basically, I don't see my friends and so on, like on a regular basis that I used to when I used to go to my office and so on.
Uh-huh.
But I think I would say it's good for personal life to some extent because you get to spend much more time with your loved ones. And work wise, sometimes it becomes weird because you don't know when to work and when to eat and when to sleep and so initially everything would be like mixed and matched, but now that it's 6 months, I know how to compartmentalize like work part and non-work related things. So I think pandemic has affected uh, us in various ways. It
Mhm.
has affected us as well. Sometimes you may feel lonely and stuff. Thankfully, I have my spouse with me, so that's great because even her university is closed. So great. So in that sense, it's there are some positives and mostly negatives.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
the special effects would be on your kind of career or profession. So, how has the recruitment process been affected or the job openings? Because given there were so many layoffs and everything happening around.
Yeah. So the sad part of this pandemic is the layoffs would happen, but mostly in the field where you have to have physical exposure, right? So it would be manufacturing, it would be airlines and other things. But the industry that we are part of or what we are looking at, pandemic has kind of boosted them even further, right? If you think about it. Uh, so there has been even more job postings in these areas, and I don't see any dearth of job. I don't see any changes in the job postings in the fields related to CS and anything which can be done here remotely, right? So even the technology that we are using right now, they are hiring like crazily.
Yeah, yeah,
so uh, I don't see, but yeah, I think there are a lot of other industries which are like severely affected.
yes.
So I don't know what's the job situation over there.
And what would be your advice to somebody who's thinking about coming to states? It can be for an undergrad or a postgrad. Like, what should they have one thing very clearly after the pandemic, and not have any illusions about? What do you think? What those things can be?
Right. So whoever plans to come, they should definitely keep in mind that be it pandemic or some unthinkable can happen. So you have to have a backup plan, like what are you going to do, right? So especially people who come from a country like India, right? So there's a big amount of investment that you do once you come here, right? So you should have a backup plan, like how are you going to recover if something of this kind of happens. So I think that one should keep in mind.
Mhm.
uh, Academically, I think the only plan is to work hard. So that has not changed whether it's pandemic or not. So you have to work hard no matter what. So that's the bottom line, I believe. Like you have to work and work. That's only going to help.
Work and adapt. I believe for us the biggest thing is the adaptation, especially when if it's an undergrad or a postgrad, because we have been used to kind of learning and doing things in a particular way, and there it's more about you decide
Yeah.
what you want to deliver. and the professor would be happily accepting it. It's me who is to decide my bench comments. They don't kind of like, can do it better, do it once again, and kind of those things. That's what my experience told
Yeah.
my masters, because even reading, I've never read that much through my life that I'd read for my masters, because they wouldn't directly spoon feed me anything. I had to do my own research. I had to kind of find answers for my own questions, and then go and ask them whether I'm correct or whether I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean that I totally agree with you. So once you go for, so it's also a cultural thing. So once you come here, like, they expect you to be an adult and they expect you to be independent. So independent not only academically, independent in every aspect of life, right? So uh, that you should have a clarity. Like if you're deciding to come here, like you should remember that you are the one who is responsible for yourself. And whether it's courses, you have to do everything from scratch. You can't cheat, you can't do any
Yeah.
shortcuts. If you do, you will get caught. Even if not get caught, you will suffer in one way or the other, because the courses that you do here, especially in masters and above, are very tailored and specialization specific, uh, which if you don't do properly will hinder your chances at further success, like be it job interviews, be something else. So I think it like, all you think, you should keep in mind that you have to be independent in all aspect of life, and you should be hardworking. You should come with a mindset that you have to work hard, because remember that there are, if you don't work hard, someone else is working hard, and they will have all the opportunities maybe you may not have. So
Yeah.
working hard is the only antidote to any adversity that we have here.
Yeah. Friends, for somebody who might be curious and thinking about, okay, he's doing PhD in data mining. What is data mining exactly? So if you would like to explain what exactly specialization is tailoring towards.
Okay. Right. So data mining is basically all sets of tools and techniques and algorithms that try to uh, understand a very domain specific problem,
Okay.
right? And basically take a unstructured domain or any business oriented or any domain, medical domain or any such domain,
Mm-hmm.
where data is not in a traditional form for like doing machine learning algorithm or anything of that sort, right? Which, so we have a big field of machine learning algorithm which start from a given certain features or certain quality of data or certain aspects of data, and from there you try to learn some automatic system and so on. But data mining is also science which tries to get from a very undefined, unstructured domain data into a data which can be further utilized by some downstream machine learning systems and so on. So data mining is about developing those algorithms. And with years, the boundaries have been blurring between different fields. So in data mining also, you do substantial amount of machine learning research as well. So it's not like completely isolated. But then there are certain fields like so my research area is anomaly detection for structured data and so on.
Okay.
So in anomaly detection, sometimes you have randomized algorithms and so on. So uh, it's may not be strictly learning algorithm, but then we use learning algorithms in different aspects and so on. So data mining is basically all sets of tools, techniques, and algorithms that help you create, which helps you get from unstructured, undefined problems to well-defined, well-structured problems, which you can solve efficiently. That's how I would like to, very vaguely, I would like to put it that way.
What I understood is it's kind of looking at it unstructured in a very organic form and then giving it a regimental or structural form or a shape that a machine can understand. It's kind of transcribing a translation
Right.
to language so that the machine understands it and can
Right.
build upon it by itself.
I was saying, like in data mining, typically what you do is like you have a bunch of like raw data about something. Say, for example, patients' records.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what to do with it. Like, so you just have data. People have collected so much data. What to do with this?
Yeah.
So now data mining is like trying to look into patterns and stuff, and that data is that data telling something about some characteristic of patients and so on. So by doing that, you are discovering structures, and if you discover enough things, then you can use some other algorithms to do this job for you,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So developing those algorithms to kind of discover patterns and so on within the data.
Okay. And if somebody is thinking about pursuing their future into this field, what do you think are the must-have skill sets one should kind of develop into this?
So, like, couple of things that I think, no, not only data mining, any field that you want to pursue in computer science, I think you should have familiarity with statistics for sure, some linear algebra, and coding. These three things, because without coding, so if you are working with computers, you should know how to code. Like, I'm not saying you should be like a system coder or end-to-end coder, but you should know how to get your work done efficiently. So that's, I think, and you should not be sticking to, like, I know coding in one language and that's all I can do. So because when you are doing research, you will have to digest a lot of other people's code. So you should have that understanding that you can work with any code given, and you should be able to run any sort of code that you have access to. So those are like some basic skills which for me I organically acquired by working in companies for some years. But uh, other people can also acquire these skills by doing course projects and so on. Like, that's these things you learn by practice essentially. But having a background in stats and linear algebra will definitely help you in the long run.
Okay, okay. And before we end, one final set of advice if you would like to give somebody, a student, it can be again right from an undergrad to a PhD, what would that be, especially for states and given these situations?
So only advice would be like, keep an eye on what is going to be the next thing. So, like, being aware of what various things are going on. Like, even if a student is doing compiler technology or something like that, even they should also think one step ahead. Like, what if, can they benefit from, say, different new emerging field or something like that? So keep being aware, and being always, and keep reading, whatever level you are, keep reading about different things, so as to find, like, you always find that there is a pathway for your problems by just getting yourself familiarized with different ideas that are out there. So reading a lot helps, and working hard. So for everything else, you have to put in effort. So never shy from putting effort, as long as you are young, or forever.
That's true.
That's
As I say,
that,
it's a continuous
yeah,
process. That's right.
right. It's a kind of story. So you should always have this appetite for learning. Otherwise, you're not going to progress.
That's true. Well, I believe that's it for today's episode. Really, thanks a lot for putting the time, and especially given that our internet was unstable, we kind of crashed in between, restarted recording. Really appreciate for appearing, and thanks a lot.
No worries. Yeah, that's totally fine. Cool. All the best for future aspirants for higher studies, and thanks, Harpreet, for inviting me here. Thank you so much.
My pleasure was all mine. And that wraps up the two-part episode series for states, especially for Pittsburgh and for PhD. If you found any value in this series, in this episode, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have already not subscribed, and also do press the bell notification icon so that you get notified as soon as I upload the next video. And also do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The handles are the Student Insights Podcast. That's where you'll find more additional information. You could also DM me, ask me questions if you have any, and I'll try my best to answer those questions to my knowledge. And if I do not have, I'll definitely make sure to guide you to certain informations and some important links that might kind of answer your questions. So please make sure follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well. And I hope you found some value in the two-part series for the PhD, specifically for Pittsburgh States. So if you know somebody from your friends or family who might be thinking about going to States in the coming future, please do make a point to share this with them, because you never know, they might get some information or some help or some resource that would guide them into getting or choosing and making a wiser decision that would allow the student journey to be more pleasant and wonderful and enjoyable. So please make sure like the video, subscribe to the channel, press the bell notification icon, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Till then, stay safe, stay sound, stay happy, and then see you in the next coming episodes. Till then, take care. See you. Bye bye.